I would like to take you a little bit to the journey of the Jewish community in Ethiopia and how we made Aliyah to Israel and why Shlichut. So again, my name is Batya Shmueli. I'm born in Ethiopia, in North Ethiopia, very Zionist family, my father and his whole family. And a little bit about the Ethiopian Jewish community. Most of the Ethiopian Jewish community, all the years, or 2000 years, when we lived in Ethiopia, we always talking about back to home to Jerusalem. We don't even use the name of Israel as a country. It's about Jerusalem. Our name, it's Batya Israel. All the years we thinking we are the last tribes of Israel, and we always waiting to back home. So all the years we don't have connection to other Jews around the world. And in the end, in 1980, about 12,000 Ethiopian Jewish decide they want to go out from Ethiopia to come home. Say they run away, like they skipped from Ethiopia, from Sudan to come home. About 4,000 of them, they die in the desert in Sudan. Very, like they came to the refugee center. The food, the water, it's like was bad situation. And even though in this situation, really terrible situation, they keeping and said, we're almost there in Jerusalem. And then the government, Israeli government, decided to doing special operation to help the Ethiopian Jewish to bring them home. So they called it the Operation of Moses, very secret operation. Israelis from the Mossad, the Navy SEAL came to Sudan. They use story that they are tourism. They want to building some tourism place from the Darwin scoop, something like that. During the day, it's used for the tourism, but in the night, it was operation to take out the Ethiopian Jew. About 8,000 Ethiopian Jew came to Israel like that. 3 years after they closed the camp, no more Aliyah until in 1991. In 1991, you remember, in Ethiopia was very dictator government, Mengistu Haile Mariam. He did terrible things, not only for the Jewish, usually to the Ethiopian people. And then in Ethiopia, people stand up and they want to kick him out. And he said, before he fold, he connect to Israel, and he said, if you want to take out the Ethiopian Jew, you need to pay $41 million. And the US helped with the negotiation. At the end, Israeli government pay $31 million. Most of the money they're fundraising from US. And I was 11 years old. About 4,000 Jewish came in Operation of Solomon. And we came 5 months after this operation. We lived in very special village, not village, city, small city in the North Ethiopia. We were 75 Jewish family. Nobody know we are Jewish. During the, like we living around us, so many not Jewish people. And in the age of 11 years, I was 11 years old. My father, he was 81 years old. The dreams really come true. For us, when somebody come and knocked to our door and they said, the way to Jerusalem, it's open, we was in shock. The Jerusalem all the years, like you heard so many stories. And this is how we flew to Israel with huge birds. God promised to the Jewish people, take care of you on the wings and eagle. For us, it's happened in 1991, in November 1991. And 5 hours after we arrived finally in the promised land, everybody fall down in kissing the land. And then we opened our eye and we saw first time in our life, so many white people. And we was confused who they are, where we are on the way to Jerusalem, where is the Jerusalem? And then somebody come to us and he said, welcome to Israel. And this Farangi, it's meaning the white people, they are Jewish like you. And we was really in shock. Where you been? You know, it's like we was really in shock. And but my father and the others, they don't really trust. They are Jewish, so they said they bring us, like the soldiers come up and with the fruit and the candy and everything, like so many welcoming. And but my parents and look into each other and they said you can eat only fruit. And I think about 1 year they was vegan, no eat meat, because they don't trust it's really kosher. And this is how we grew up. And 2 weeks after the kids, 11 years old and up, we moved to the boarding school. And every 2 weeks we come to visit our family. And 8 months in Israel, like the first 8 months, the boarding schools was amazing. The counselor, the teachers, like everybody so excited. We was the first Ethiopian Jewish kids who came to this boarding school, and everybody just want to help. We really enjoy. We was in the center, the Ethiopian Jewish culture. Children, they are part of the community. They are not in the center. Even when you become 5 years old, you need to help the family. And here it's something else. And then during the boarding, you're learning like in the Ulpan, especially the Hebrew lessons, 8 months. And during this time, you travel around the country. Really, we feel like freedom and paradise, and the world really belonged to us, to the young generation. It was amazing time, 8 months. And after 8 months, they said, now you finish the Ulpan, you're going to join to the regular class. And when we go, I was the younger from this group. We were 23 kids. And I was only one Ethiopian child in this class. And it was very traumatic for me. I sit in this class about 1 year without any friends. And slowly, I feel alone and a stranger. And why I'm different, because in Ethiopia, most of the Ethiopian Jewish community, they call us Falashim. Falashim, it's meaning stranger. And now we become the Ethiopian, and we are Jewish. We are Batya Israel. We are not Ethiopian. We are Batya Israel, and nobody using this name anymore. In the end of this year, in the regular class, I decide that I don't want to be part of the Ethiopian Jewish community anymore. I just want to be regular Israeli child and to grow up like without any special title. So I stopped speaking the Ethiopian language. I changed my style. I was very, very lucky that I had really fantastic counselor, Uri Eldad, his name. He become like really big brothers, and any question that I have, any dilemma, any really like two different worlds, coming from traditional life to the modern life in Israel. So all the time I ask him question, and I have another counselor. It was nice, and he was younger, and I asked him how the fashion and everything. And one time he told me, I asked him how I can be more Israeli. And he said, listen, I have secret for you, but don't share to others. And I said, okay, I promise. And he said, from now, you're going to be friends, you're going to make friends only with the Ashkenazi kids. And I said, what is Ashkenazi kids? For us, I don't really understand what's meaning Ashkenazi. They said, oh, this is Jewish. We came from Europe, most of them, and they are control about the country, and you need to make friends from the Ashkenazi side. And I said, listen, how I can recognize them? It's like everybody looks the same color. And he said they are much more white. And this is how I start to make new friends with the Ashkenazi. The kids who living in the boarding school, they don't like me. Of course, the Ethiopian kids, they call me the Mishtaknezet, that I become more Ashkenazi. And this is how I grew up. And I feel this is the way to be Israeli. And when I become 16 years and a half, I think I made so many problems to my parents. Not problems, like it's I came with a new life, So even one time when I was 16 years and a half, I changed the color of my hair to blonde. and then with the skinny jeans. And my grandfather was very religious, like I'm kind of rabbi in Ethiopia. And his grandchild, I dressed like they don't know, they don't know who am I. And they speak with me in Amharic, and I answer only in Hebrew. And I get the chutzpah of Israeli. And this is that how I really grew up, and I finished the high school like that. The next things after you finish the high school in Israel, it's going to join the army. Everybody have to go. And the boys for 3 years and the girls for 2 years. Or if you are religious, you go to doing national service. So I enjoyed, for me, it was very important to go to the army service. But I don't know what's the meaning, and I would like to do meaningful service, army service. And I asked many people, and I asked one time the father of my friend, and he told me, listen, Batya, you must go to the Navy SEAL. And I said, what's that? And he's the commando. I remember when you came from Ethiopia and from Sudan, the Navy SEAL helped you. I think it's great time to close the circle. Now you're going to join the summit. I love it. And I said, okay, so how I go? He said, you just ask. I was very naive. I did, first of all, you're doing the basic train in the army, and then they tell you which unit you're going to join. I finished this basic train, and then they tell me to go to the other place, still Navy, but I want to like the Shayetet 13, it's like very unique, and the commando, so nobody listened to me. During the course, every morning I come and I ask him, listen, I have to go to the Shayetet 13, and he said, yalla, yalla. And this is what I did. In the beginning, he was very nice, my officer, not every day you see blonde Ethiopian Jewish child, but after a few weeks, he said, that's it. You don't listen to me. You don't really understand where you are. Now I'm going to judge you and I put you in jail. And they said, jail? Why? And he said, you don't listening. You don't know what's the Israeli army, and this is very serious. And I was in shock, and I started crying, and I said, listen, all my life, I dreaming back to home, and I want to give back, and the Navy SEAL help us to come to home. Anyway, I did a little bit drama, and in the end, he decided to help me, and this is how I become part of the sport fighter in the Navy SEAL. And when I joined this Navy SEAL, this was the first time in my life I feel that I'm 100%, I'm Israeli, and I first something in my life that I feel I belong to this country, and I'm part of the Jewish people in Israel. And during the army service, unfortunately, my father, he became sick, and short time after he passed away. And my relationship with my father until 11, 12 years old, my father, everything for me. But when I try to be Israeli, relationship like emotionally, it was not like it was bad. And my father, he passed away without how much in deep my heart I love him. Even to ask in Yom Kippur, forgive me, and slicha, nothing, and it was very heavy for me. And then decide after I finished my army service to go out from Israel and to travel and to be alone and to discover who am I? What is the meaning to be Jewish, Israeli? And this is usually in Israel. Most of the soldiers, after they finish the army service, we like to travel a little bit outside from Israel, cling, to a little bit to enjoy with yourself and to be alone, to discover new cultures. So many of my friends, they decide to go to India and South America. And for me, after all, I come from Africa and Ethiopia, so it's not so interesting for me. In New York, it's much more attractive. This, for example, it looks like in the movie, it's much more interesting. So I buy tickets and I fly to New York. And after 2 weeks, I said, it's too much for me. And then I moved to LA. I lived 1 year in Los Angeles. From God, I know God is with me, even I was so far away from my identity. I lived in the area, Pico and Fairfax, and slowly, I go to the shul, I work in a restaurant, kosher restaurant, and this is way that I met Jewish community in LA. And when they understand that I'm part of the Ethiopian Jewish community, like it was amazing. A lot of them, they want to adopt you and they want to give you money, go to college. And I was in shock. Like these people, they don't know me only because I'm Jewish from part of the Ethiopian Jewish community. They want to like, was a very good experience. What is the meaning of the Arvut Adadit? How the Jewish people, we need to take care of each other, never mind from where you're from. And I lived there 1 year. And also I cry a lot about the generation of my parents. It's when you're thinking how these teeny tribes in Ethiopia, they live between 80 million non-Jewish people. And these really thousands of tribes, Jewish tribes, Batya Israel, how they survived. And without any connection with other Jews around the world, without any support. And they did everything to bring us back home. And when we moved to Israel, we were so shy. You know, we came from our parents, they don't speak the language, they are old, they are, you know, they are primitive cultures, you know, and we really, I feel that we don't give enough respect and we don't empower them. And this is why I decided after 1 year in LA back to Israel and to share the story of the Ethiopian Jewish community and to bring those parents to share what they did. And this is what I opened small company called The Magic of the Ethiopian Jewish Culture, and I bring my mother to share the story, and I bring more mothers and the father to share their story, young generation to dancing, like to teach the Ethiopian Jewish culture and the story of the Ethiopian Jewish community, very unique story to the Israeli society. Of course, I go to university to learning the Jewish history. It's very, very important to know what happened to the Jewish people generally, and not the focus only about the Ethiopian Jewish community. And this is what we did. During the army service, I met my husband. He came to doing the, after you finish the army, every year you need to come to volunteering. And so I met my husband. But I decided that I go to US and he decided to come to Africa. He lived in Kiwayu and Lamo in Kenya. He originally, his mother from Romania and his father from Iraq. They came to Israel in the 50s. He born in Israel, of course, my husband. So when I back to Israel, we met again each other and we decide to marry and to building family. And this is why we decide to open like home for the travel. We have in Israel beautiful trail, like you can travel from north to south, and all the ways, everything is free. And we was the first one that we open free home for those travel to come and to take shower and the dinner and everything. And this is great opportunity to know more people, to share and to speak about the belonging to each other. In Israel, you know, it's many cultures from different countries, Russia and Ukraine, Brazil, and this and that. So I don't believe the Jewish people, they are right or left. And then, for example, in the politics, we are much more. So how we bring more people to speak in the language of the common language, not left or right, and to hate, to find the reasons why I hate or I don't like this man and this woman because she belongs. and this part of where she's religious, so she was secular. And we really believe this is our responsibility. If the generation of my parents, the generation of the people after Holocaust back to Israel and they're building this amazing country, now this is our turn to take responsibility to give to the society. And this is why we opened this home 20 years ago. And for me, it was very important that one day we need to go out from our comfortable life to doing service, to doing shlichut to the Jewish people outside. The way when it's really start dreaming about that, when I was a student in a university, I don't have any support, financially support. My mother, she worked very hard cleaning a mall. She worked from 2 different jobs, and she really, after my father passed away, she fight to make sure that we have everything, and we are not orphan, we are not miskenim, poor kids, like to give us everything. And she always said, dream, this is your country. And so when I was a student and my focus was to succeed in the university, and I don't have much money. And it was really long time that I eat only hummus with bread. And I was very shy, and I was stuck in this situation. But I said, thank God, I have bread, it's enough for me. And I have water, it's free water, and it's okay. And then I met one lady from Atlanta. She came to visit in the University of Haifa, and she wanted to meet the Ethiopian Jewish students. And then she interviewed each of the students, and we met. And I tell her, listen, who am I? And about my father, he passed away, and my mother, and I'm very excited to be here in the university. And she said, listen, I don't have a lot of money, but I can send you every month $100. And I was in shock, like, I don't know her. And she said, I support you, you need to eat and learning good. And this is how really the first time it's really touched me deep, deep, deep in my heart. And I said, when I grow up, when I be okay, I want to go out and serving Jewish community outside from Israel. And the last 11 years, I was the head of fundraising money for the at-risk kids. It's children who came from Russia, Ukraine, Brazil, France, Ethiopia, and more. These kids came, some of them, they come to Israel, they made Aliyah without their family. Some of them, they are orphan, and some of them coming from Israel, but very, very poor area, and very challenging stories. And we take care of these kids from 14 years old until after the university, to support them financially, emotionally, and if they need psychology, anything they need to make sure they become part of the best people in Israel. We called from survivor to leadership. So after doing this mission 11 years, my husband and me, I asked him, this is the time to go out to the shlichut. We have 3 kids. 16 years and a half, 14 years old, and 7 years old. Some of our friends, they said, you are crazy to take your kids now in this age outside from Israel. And we said, this is the correct time. And we came to the shlichut, and we are very, very happy. It was a few options for us to doing shlichut in US, in Canada, and South Africa. When we met different community, when we met the leaders here, Esther Leviathan and Julie Berman, they interview us, and from the Federation of the Jewish Community here in Cape Town, we feel this is the correct place. The story of Jewish community here, and we feel like we want to come to here to Cape Town, and we are very happy. Even it's very challenged time now, and we are very sorry for again for the Jewish community. We're sorry for the Jewish community with the COVID, and it's still here, and then the war and the whole demonstration happened in the last few weeks ago, and we feel we are very lucky to be here and to support and to meet more organizations like you. And I hope like we have more and like in the future face to face. So my position here to doing shlichut community work and a part of the Aliyah. My husband is Shaliach in Herzliya School and others. Yeah, that's it. If you have questions, please. We are very, very proud to be part of your community. You have unique story, unique Judaism here. Like you are very like about 100 years. Your Jewish community come from Lita to here, and like we want to more. We want to know what you need, and this is that. In the last 2 months, we meet different organizations to see what they need, of course, to work with the different Jewish school. And that's it. You have question, please.
Thank you so much for your absolutely interesting and amazing story that you had to tell. And it's just wonderful that you're here with us now. I'd like to know, anybody got any questions? Any comments? You've all always got so much to say. Unmute yourselves and ask Batya questions.
Feel free, any question. It's really, I'm here for you. Any question?
Diane?
Yes.
It's Marcel. How are the children settling in? At school and friends and stuff?
Thank you. So to the teenagers, much more challenge, the system of the school, you know, in Israel is much more loose. It's much more free. Here it's more, you know, even uniform and the language and everything. But we support them, we're speaking about everything, and they miss their friend, especially now in Israel. It's vacation time, it's summer, and now it's winter. And the other things with the friend, and we are very lucky. The Jewish community here in Cape Town, they are very friendly. They invite our kids like 2 weeks after. They was every week. They are busy party and this and that. You know, they're very busy. So we are very happy. The little girl, the Naomi, she's much more easier. She make even friends, and like with the language quickly she learning. So slowly, but part of the very important, it's like to make friends. It's they made friends, they have friends, so it's good.
So on our chat line, I've got a couple of chats. Joyce Hessen says, bless you, Batya, you inspire everyone. Enjoy your time and look forward to meeting you at some time. Best wishes, Joyce. And Eunice said, what an absolutely amazing life story. I see that Veronica's got a question.
Yes. I just wondered, in terms of outside the Jewish community, if you've come into contact with anybody. I don't know, political people or anything like that, or you've just been inside the Jewish community, because our government must realize that not all Jews are white. You know, that's what, you know, and that is what is amazing about you. So I wonder if you've had any interactions, any connections with sort of political type figures at all.
This is my part of my dream, you know, to come to those people that called to Israel apartheid, the different names, they don't know what is really Israel, most of them. So part of the time I'm going to work with the Christian friend of Israel, like Safi, if you know what's that. And my dream, it's to get also to this political part of the leaders here to explain to them what is really Israel. I just want to tell you that because we came from Ethiopia, and it's, you know, it's third world, and we came to Israel without any money, and the Israeli government, they did special programs to those Ethiopian Jewish community to go to university for first degree to second degree. It's free for us, and also to our parents to make sure that they give us the money to buy home. It's like everything they can do. So many organizations to help the Ethiopian Jewish community. It's like, it's unbelievable. So this is why in the last week I started learning English to prove my English, to stand up also to those people who blames Israel, they attacked the Jewish people, they about apartheid and everything. I want to be like also a speaker and to share to them what's really Israel. So Veronica, this is part of my dream. If you think, each of you, if you want to invite me in the future to speak in some people that you think it's irrelevant, anything that you need, I'm here. We are here. My husband and me, we live and sleep the shlichut all the time. So definitely this is part of my plan to meet the leaders here in the political side, also in Cape Town.
Can I just make another comment to Batya? Of course, the Israeli government helps all new Olim, not only Ethiopians. And because I also went to Israel, and they also paid for me to study at the Hebrew University for 4 years. So there is a program that Israel does help new Olims, and money towards housing and appliances and all that. So it's not only the Ethiopians, even though the Ethiopians probably might have needed more help, but I just wanted people to hear that I also had that benefit.
Yeah,
it's
you're
amazing.
right, you're right. Israel has to hold the Olim Hadashim, definitely. That's right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Batya, I might have missed it because I had a couple of calls while you were talking, but how many of you came on the plane when you left Ethiopia? That's the first question. And what was your home language in Ethiopia?
The Jewish language, usually it's Amharic or Tigray. It depends which area you live. And the holy language, it's Ge'ez. This is about the language. How many people we came to?
When you came over to Israel from Ethiopia on the aeroplane?
We were that, most of the Ethiopian Jews coming in 1991, and we missed this operation. And then the government, 5 months after, they did special operation, which was 36 Jewish family came together. Yeah,
Okay.
in November.
And how long did it take you to learn Hebrew?
It's amazing with the kids, like the basic language, like after 1 year, you know Hebrew. For adults, it's much more challenge. For example, my parents, today, thank God, my mother, she speaks Hebrew, but she mixed the language with Amharic and everything. But for the young generation, like after 1 year, that's it, the basic language, and then you prove the language from 1 year, 2 years. After 3 years, like that's it, you into it. In Israel, you don't have choice. You have to speak Hebrew. This is not like the same situation here. Most of the people you speaking English all the time. Like in Israel, Hebrew, it's very, very important. This is why we, part of our plan, to create here programs that the children, they can use the language. They're learning Hebrew here, but they don't practice the language. So we need to create program to practice, even not for Aliyah. We don't like come to here to push the young generation to make Aliyah, but you have a lot of opportunity to develop yourself and the Masa program. So we want to give them opportunity to practice the language. Israel is future. Israel is very attractive language. Even you go to walk in the world and the other in Australia and this and that, it's good to know Hebrew language. You never know with who you're going to meet. It's a very important language today. It's very relevant. Yeah.
Any other questions from anyone or comments?
Batya,
Yes.
hi. I'd like to ask you if you ever do get a chance to speak to any members of parliament, please, you've seen what goes on here with people living on the railway lines. You know that I read in the paper recently that there are 60,000 people living on the railway line between Cape Town and Kailicha. And they can't get them off because they haven't provided houses for them and so on. And I really would like you to point out to the government, if you ever get a chance to talk to them, how quickly immigrants of all countries become assimilated and are encouraged to, you'll start off maybe in a tent, in a whatever, a caravan, but how quickly you are able to be assimilated and to get a home and to get an education and to move forward. Because in this country the unemployment is about, I don't know, they say it's about 50%. I think it's about 65 or 70%. So we are talking about two different situations, and yet Israel is always blamed for being apartheid and this and that, which you've pointed out already. But please try to emphasize to them exactly how education is encouraged and how assimilation is encouraged and all this sort of thing. And I think that would be the greatest mitzvah that you could do for us in South Africa.
Thank you, Hilda.
Thank you. It's anything that we can really explain. It's also we have so many connections that we can bring. Today in Israel, we have Knesset members, doctors, like different professionals that we can bring even to here, that to speak to those. The question is if they are ready to listening, if they are really want to learning. So anything that we can share, this is why we are here. We really
wonderful.
Yeah.
I know at the universities that even if somebody wants to speak pro-Israel, they are shut down. There are a lot of demonstrations and so on, pro-Palestinian demonstrations. And if somebody comes from Israel and tries to speak about Israel, they just shut them down. So you must know that you're going to have a difficulty, but I'm sure that you've got the strength and the determination to stand up to that opposition.
We are not afraid from nothing. I think we need to come with the truth. We don't need to come from really, it's unfortunately many people speaking without know the real story. It's easy to hate, to found the common of the why we hate Israel, and part of like we need also before that to support the Jewish young kids, children, young generation who they are learning in different university. The challenge, it's the danger. It's like those Jewish young generation still like start to feel guilty, uncomfortable to be connect with Israel. So my part of focus also is to open the dialogue with these young Jewish kids. You know, it's very dangerous. It's what happened in US. A lot of the young generation, they don't want to any connection with the Israel anymore because they don't know really the story. They feel like guilty, or they feel people want to be like everyone, you know. So here our question, like to support this student in university and also in the school.
Correct, correct.
It's very heavy to the young generation to go with guilty, you know. They need to be proud themselves. They need to be okay with themselves, not guilty about anything they did. They need to be proud to be part of Am Israel. So
correct, correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway.
Anybody else? Thank you for that, Hilda. Anybody else wanting to add anything? Okay, Veronica, you muted. You muted, Veronica.
How long are you here for? How long, what is your contract? How long is your contract?
It's for 2 years, but in option for 3 years, and especially like it can be like even 4 years. So we see them ourselves for 3 years. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we hope that, against all hopes, that with COVID it will end soon and we'll be able to welcome you into our own centers, because we've got 4 centers in Cape Town where everybody normally meets. And we don't normally have Zoom meetings. So hopefully we'll be able to invite you to one of our centers to meet you in person.
Please, I really waiting to face, but we know the reality. The COVID's going to be here. Like we are here, like in the middle of the drama. So I'm here, Diana, to bring different lectures, if you like, different, very interesting people from Israel to invite. It's much more easier on Zoom. Just tell me what they need. I'm here. And when God, Be'ezrat Hashem, when it's like possible, when we passed in this 3rd wave, and everybody held, and then the peaceful and everything, we want to, I think it can be very interesting for you to meet my husband. He has a very special story. And we have another more shlichim here. And we just want to bring to you the experience of Israeli people. And we are really here with our heart, anything that you need. And we dreaming to celebration with you, the different holidays, the Jewish holidays, you know. So we need to little bit sablanot, but meantime, and with the Zoom, Diana, I'm here for you to bring different lectures from Israel.
So that's great. I'll talk to you offline about that, because that's the one good thing about Zoom. We don't only have to look at people in Cape Town. We can get people from all over the world to speak to us. So we can chat about that, because every Thursday we look for someone different. And so it's nice for us to have a variety of people that we can speak to. And I'm sure that everybody would welcome that.
Sorry, if I could just say, Batya, I would be particularly interested for you to speak. The Ethiopians have one main Jewish holiday. Just remind me what it's called. I should remember.
Sigd.
Just say that again.
Sigd.
Sid, yes.
Yeah.
And it would be, people don't know about this. And now it's celebrated in Israel, and I believe it's also like a public holiday. Yeah,
so
yeah.
Would you like to tell us
I
about
was
it?
involved in a conference where I had to chair a session on three sessions on Ethiopian Jewry, and I discovered I know very, very little. So that would be tremendously interesting. I would request, something explaining your Jewish holidays, please.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, that would be wonderful.
It's
Batya,
15
talking
days after
about-
Yom Kippur, we will celebration together.
But you're talking about different cultures. Many years ago, it could be about 15 years ago, I think, somebody, a school, a dance school from Haifa was brought here, and they performed Ethiopian dances, performed at the Maria Road Synagogue Hall. And I was absolutely fascinated how different the dance style is from any other African dances that I've seen, where there's this stumping, and you stomp and you jump and you rhythm and you this, and the Ethiopian is totally different. They can even sit, and it's just the shoulder movement. The shoulder movement is terribly important, and they don't have that rhythmic thing that goes throughout the rest of Africa. And I was just wondering why, in fact, it is so totally different from all African other dance forms. It's very introverted, and it's just a different. They held these umbrellas, I remember, if that's typical of Ethiopian dancing. But it was the shoulder movement which seemed to be the most important aspect of the dance expression.
I'm very exciting. Diana, it's amazing. They know, so I don't need to explain too much. We just need to practice, to dance, to eat the Ethiopian food, and so wow, so exciting. Yeah, very special.
Batya, can I just ask you, have you been back to Ethiopia?
Yes, 7 years ago, we decided to take our kids, 2 boys, to travel, to show them where's the village, the Jewish life and everything. It was very hard, and it was very touching. I'm very emotional person. So when I get to the village life, Jewish village place, and where's my grandfather, how do you say, Bet Kvarot, means
Cemetery.
Thank you. It's unbelievable. It's really unbelievable how they survived there. They abuse them all the time. It was time to the Jewish people. They don't have land. They took the land from the Jewish people, and this is why most of the women they doing like ceramica. It says. Memory, like they're building special things because they don't have land anymore, and they call them falasha. It's meaning stranger. The other name of the Jewish was Kaila. So all these stories come up for me when I go there. The Jewish, and some of them they remember my grandfather, and they said story. A very old man that said, "Oh, you are belonging to this family." And even and we was sick, and it was very hard and very touching. And the end of the travel, we came to Addis, and we go to this hotel. Finally, to go to make shower, and then just rest a little bit. And then I go to the salon here, and she said, "Where are you from? You're not from here." And I said, "Yeah, I'm from Israel." And then she said, falasha. And the way she said that, it's like I barely know. It's like, and I said, we are Israeli, we are Jewish. You can look outside to your country. Look how many children starving outside. When you enjoy your hotel, look around to you. In Israel, we take care of our kids, never mind if they are orphan and this and that, and and then I stand up and I said, "And don't touch my hair," and that's it. So this was like the end of the trip, and you feel your home. It's really Israel. It's even they use the name, they call us the Ethiopian Israelim. Our parents, they don't like the name. They said, we are Batya Israel. This is the name that you use in Ethiopia. And why you call us in Israel Ethiopian? We are not Ethiopian. We are Batya Israel. We've been in Ethiopia. We were always dreaming back home. And now we are home. Just call us Batya Israel. So I've been there. But I back again to Ethiopia and Misrad HaChutz, that Ministry of Israel sent me to teach young Ethiopian non-Jewish people, to teach them how to make business and everything. So we did project in Ethiopia. I don't have any problem with Ethiopia. I like part of the Judaism is to make peaceful, to know to forgive, to Islah. And this is the difference, I think, about the Jewish people in the world. And sometimes when you're thinking about Germany, what happened to the Jewish people, 6 million people burned them, they killed them, it's unbelievable. But in the end, the Jewish people, they continue and they're building meaningful country. And this is the difference. So now, and also this is great example to remind us to even personally story or a journalist story, we cannot talk about the hate, about, and we need to move on to remember what they did to you, to remember what happened. But in the end, we have to look in the future. And this is one of the message that I really practice to explain to the world, like, you don't know nothing about Israel, let's listen, we give you opportunity to learn the real story. So when they call us, we don't have connection to Israel because she apartheid, or when the apartheid government, Israel made business with South Africa, and no question about that. When most of the world, they don't have connection with South Africa because it was apartheid, Israel but how long you going to use this story to not connect to Israel? How long it's going to take? This is my question. And this is I think that to the Jewish people, to remind them who we are, what's the difference. And if you really, if you are really catch me what I try to say, and this is one of the things that really so excited about the Jewish world. And 10 minutes, we can, okay? I'm coming. So my kids like, come on, mommy, we need to go.
Okay, thank you so much for your really interesting.
Really pleasure. I would like to discuss with you more. Meantime, I'm going to prove my English because I have so many things to say. It's not come out like I said in Hebrew, and so I really want to make with you more conversation, to speaking about the Jewish world, about the Jewish responsibility, not only about our people, about the world. Yeah. And
Well,
thank you, Diana, that you invite me. I really very happy. You guys.
Thank you for joining us.
And
just one more from the chat is that Felicity says, thank you for sharing your amazing story. B'hatzlacha.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. So keep yourself. Stay safe. How we say?
Stay safe. And I just want to give a couple of announcements. Batya, if you're welcome to stay, but if you want to leave us, I understand you've got other things on. So for us this afternoon, we have a concert. The concert this year is, this afternoon is Ella Fitzgerald. So that's one that has been requested. So that's this afternoon. Tomorrow is Yiddish. Monday morning, don't forget, at 9:30, we've got Steve Sherman going to do us more tech-savvy information for your computers and for your phones. And then after that on Monday is Joycelyn with her exercise class. On Tuesday morning, we've got bingo. And Tuesday after that, is there anything on Tuesday afternoon? I don't think anything Tuesday afternoon. Wednesday morning, you've got exercises and then knitting and movies in the afternoon. And next Thursday morning is Ivor's concert, and it's going to be a great one this month. He's got a fabulous lineup. And then our concert next Thursday is Nikki Parrott, who's a young person that I've just found on the internet, and she's absolutely fabulous. So there's lots to do, lots to be involved with, and looking forward to seeing you all. Take care and stay safe, stay masked, and keep distance from everybody else, please. We don't want anyone to get ill. Thanks,
Batya,
everyone.
thank you.
Take care.
Batya, thank you. You seem
Pleasure,
such a
pleasure.
And
lovely,
please
lovely
knit. Those of
person.
you who can knit, we need scarves and beanies. So we've got wool. Please join us and knit. Thanks, everyone. Have you started, Lena? Good. You're muted. I can't hear you.
I said, I haven't knitted for 40 years, but I'll get started and
Good.
get into it. Okay.
Great.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, thanks.
And we
That
all
was
say
very,
goodbye
that
to
was very
Batya
inspiring.
and shalom, and thank you, Batya.
Shalom uvracha.